Dunstan Chan. Who is recording?
I just turned that the cloud recording on. I found something. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Today's special feature is at 8 p.m. Singapore time. Dunstan Chan will be conducting a leadership workshop. Do you know who is Dunstan Chan? Have you all met him? Yeah, he's a lawyer by training. He lives in Malaysia. He was one of the guys who started Toastmasters group in ASEAN, right? And he's a writer. He got about, I think, 500 articles published in newspaper over a span of quite a number of years. And he's very active in community service. He's a leader in quite a few NGOs in Malaysia as well. So he conducts a lot of training within Toastmasters and outside Toastmasters as part of his profession. So later, maybe I need to introduce him again when he come on at 8 o'clock to talk to us about leadership. Usually he takes, all the while he takes his training very seriously. So he prepares his slide and everything. And he has a lot of material to share. So that is a special presentation for about 45 minutes, starting at 8 o'clock. At the meantime, while we are here, I want each of us to speak for about 2 to 3 minutes. Introduce yourself, where you're from, and what is most important to you. Can we do that? Maybe I start with Dr. Halima. You are right at the top of my screen.
Thank you very much. And I am Dr. Halima Sadia, an educationist by profession and a trainer, mentor by passion. For me, the most important thing is that how we live with the people in harmony. And at times when we give more priority to ourselves and we think about ourselves more than anyone else, then the problem starts. We think that by giving importance to ourselves, we are helping us, but in other way, it's not helping us, it brings harm to us. So at times we have to give less to us and more to others so that we can get in return more, and then we find more satisfaction and peace. For me, giving is happiness. For me, reaching out to the people is happiness. For me, having a simple life, but a satisfying life is the ultimate goal. And Agora is my passion because I was associated with Agora for the last 3 years. And I found that whenever I have joined this forum, I found that here real things are happening. Like there is no fake things or artificial or show off or these type of things are not happening. And especially Ben Pang has impressed me once when we were organizing an award ceremony, and he has said that we honor the people who really deserve. And for that, there is no need of having any award money. There is no need of having, not award money, registration money. And I was so impressed by this sentence of Ben Pang that really it is a great thing that if we want to appreciate someone and award someone, why we are asking for the registration money? It means that we are doing for some other intention. It's not the intention of really acknowledging the efforts and the achievements of the people. So that has really made me great fan of Ben Pang, and that's why I'm here. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I live in UAE nowadays, and I am a trainer by profession.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Halima. I'm so happy to hear you say that. Okay, now I'm trying to switch off my handphone so that I can continue on the screen on my computer. Now I'm gonna figure out how to do it.
Yeah, Bumpin, you look very different on the two screens. One is more handsome than the other. I don't know why.
Which one is more handsome? You must tell me that I stick to that one.
The one with Agora speakers at the background. In the background.
Bumpin, you're muted again on the main screen. Bumpin, you're muted. and you're talking.
Dr. Halima, I feel very rewarded, very worthwhile to spend my time because I feel I've made an impact, and because I have made an impact, many people can benefit from listening to you as well. So I'm super happy to hear you say that. Thank you so much. Next person to invite. Anybody has any feedback or want to share something with Dr. Halima's presentation? Wait, Shauna, you're muted, Shauna.
So actually, when you asked
No, we
us
cannot
to-
hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, it's okay. We can
I
hear.
can hear you. I can hear you.
Shona can be heard.
Is this better now?
Yeah.
This is better, is it?
Okay, can hear you now. Sorry, it was my fault. I didn't wear my earplug, earphone.
Okay.
What were you saying, please? Sorry.
Okay. So actually, when Banpeng asked us to talk about what is most important to each of us, I was going to say that it's important to have a sense of well-being, physical and mental, because I think without that, first of all, we can't do anything much for ourselves or for anybody. And then what I was going to say was that it's important for me to feel connected to the people. And actually, Dr. Harima was saying kind of the same thing, that it's so important that we help each other in the community. And I think so. I mean, I just felt I was feeling the same thing actually, because I think without the people around you, you don't get anywhere. You can't do much. You support each other. And yes, because initially I thought that families themselves are important, everything is everything. But I realized that it's friends, communities, and all that just keeps you going. Yes.
Thank you, Shauna. You are right. I'm totally in agreement with you that the community we have is very important. If you are used to being in a toxic environment where people are always talking bad about each other, for example, I think life will be quite miserable. I cannot have that kind of environment. I feel very uncomfortable. Yeah, a lot of politics, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of all kinds of nonsense in some communities is really bad. But I'm very glad whenever I'm in Agora, all my friends are thinking of how to pay back to society. What can we do to help others? So the community, to me, I absolutely agree with you, the importance of the community. Thank you. Who want to go next? Brian, yeah.
Yeah, I think the most important right now is to see the world as a colorful place. Because when you think about people these days, everything is black and white. Either I'm good or I'm bad, or you're bad, you're good. There's nothing in between. And in fact, every person has good and bad in him or her. And also, not everybody is black and white, because we have so many colors. We have red, we have green, we have blue, purple, orange, yellow. So think of things in the absolute term is really what causes a lot of issues these days. Yes, because everybody has different priority at different places. And even in one place, you're the good person. In another place, you're the bad guy. And that is actually very common. To think about it, if you have two countries at war, and then if you are from the country A, then country B is the bad person, right? But in country B, he's actually the national hero because he's fighting for his country. And of course, you're on the opposite side and he's fighting you. So you think he's the bad guy. But in fact, he could be very well respected. He could be a real good guy for his family, for his country, for his community. But when you're on a different location, you look at the person and say, oh, this is so awful because yeah, I have to kill him. Well, things like that, I think it's really how we have to think about the world as a very colorful place because everybody's different. We all have our opinions. We all have things we want to accomplish. And if we can be peaceful together, just think about the nature. If you walk on the street, there's so many different colors. You can't say, oh, I have to ban all the red color or ban all the green color because they exist everywhere. And you just have to really open up your mind and allow possibility of different color and different things come to your life. You can't think of things as only black and white, only right or wrong, because there's so many possibilities in between and a lot of combinations. And for human to actually evolve, for the society to become better, we do have to have diversity of voices and opinions and the ways of doing things. Because if we think of just everybody is the same, it will be so boring. Even if everybody is just like me, it would be so boring, right? We have to have Bampan, we have to have Shona, Dr. Halima, and we all different people. We all have different thoughts. We all bring different things to the table. And I think that's the beauty of the world. We have to see this world as a colorful place. Back to you, Bampan.
Thank you, Brian. When you say we have to see the world in the different color, at first I did not know what you mean when you first started. But when you start talking that, oh, make a lot of sense. And I didn't think of expressing myself in that way. So I felt it's so true what you're saying, right? It's a reality that differences exist. It's a reality. One guy may be a hero to some people, but he's a terrorist to another group, for example. So it's quite insightful to me, yeah? And what do we do, right? As an individual, can we do anything to promote this idea? I think we should. We may not appear like we are making a lot of impact changing the world, but I think we are already making a start today by sharing this idea. And when I talk to my friends, right, I can also start sharing the idea. It may not see a result in a day or two, but if we keep on talking like this, I think over time, people will begin to try to accept each other rather than judge it totally black or white. You are either with me or against me kind of idea. So thank you very much, Brian. What about Aaron? What is most important?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank Pampang for being with me for about 2 years, I think, 3 years now. About the thing, I think most of you mentioned community colors. I think most important is support from each other. Actually, Pampang asked me what I'm doing now. Actually, I'm moving towards community. But in the community, there are leaders, there are also supporters, there are also clients or people within. But if the leaders of the community is not right, having their own ego, having their own judgment, then we have to move on to another community. I mean, like I mentioned, there's different colors. We choose our colors. Like Dr. Halima mentioned just now, what community? Education. I mean, education. So we choose the area we like or love to. But first of all, I think someone mentioned to me 3 things. Number 1, my home, my family, whether means my siblings and my own family, must take care first. Second is my country, because I'm staying in Singapore. There must be a peace. Then third is the whole world, whether you're in Dubai, Taiwan, US, anywhere around the world, it must be a peace with each other. But most importantly, we have to see eye to eye. Without looking eye to eye, I think everybody will not be able to understand. No doubt we have Zoom, we have physical contact, we have Zoom, at least we can feel. If I shut your camera off, example, okay, even though I'm talking, you cannot sense the word I'm saying. So we need to have facial expression, the color of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron, you are very effective. When you switch off the camera, suddenly it's all dark, and then you use that very well.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That was really good. Very good. And you seem like, are you Chinese educated?
No, I'm not Chinese educated. I'm English educated.
But you seem to be very like Confucianist kind of thinking.
Because I read a lot. I read different leaders. Read the books. I read the biography or watch video to understand their history. What is the purpose of their journey?
So I thought your structure about yourself and your family to be in good condition, good relationship, and then after that is a country, then followed by the world. It's a very Confucianist kind of idea, although he didn't express it exactly like you, but I think it's about self, about family, about the local community, then national community, then global community. So I thought you must be a Confucianist scholar.
Thank you.
James, can you hear me, James?
Yes, I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You appear to be walking somewhere. You're not sitting down at your desk.
Oh,
Are you following our discussion?
yes, definitely.
Okay. Would you like to speak to us while you're walking?
Sure.
Okay. Tell us what is most important.
Most important to me is to be in an environment where everyone is always helping each other, lor. Because when I was always when I was schooling, I saw a lot of people who are very selfish. You know, they don't share their notes, don't help others. I feel very disgusted by this kind of behavior. But things got a lot better as I progressed in my education. I see less and less of this kind of people. And when I came out to work, it still see some, but not as bad. And I feel that a lot of people, they don't know. In actual fact, in the process of giving, you actually receive. You know, because I believe a lot on this thing called karma. You know, what goes out, come back. You know, you reap what you sow. Whatever you do always come back. A lot of times I help others, the kindness will come back in a lot of unexpected way. And that is what I believe will happen. And so even I myself, because of the environment I was brought up to I'm a very helpful person. I like to do volunteer work, help others, do what I can, go out to help the less fortunate. You know, even when you all don't know me, I go around feeding all the stray cats and dogs because I feel for them, I want to help them. But it's just that I stay my parents, so I cannot keep pets at home. And when I look at all these wars that's going on around the world, you know, if instead of doing all these things, if we really go around helping each other, you will start to feel for each other. You start to love and care for each other instead of always thinking of going through all these wars to destroy. But when actual fact, you can be helping all the less fortunate. You know, I mean, war doesn't come. I mean, war I find the 21st century is very senseless, very pointless. You know, you can use that kind of resources to improve on technology, you know, do a lot more things with less. You know, if the country, they really learn how to help each other, build up each other, then instead of fighting with each other, you know, causing all this misery, they can actually help mankind by a lot. So if we learn how to help each other, how to love each other, I believe the world will be a lot more better place. And we can start by ourselves, by the things that we do, the smaller things that we do, will really make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I'm inspired. Like you are good. I wasn't expecting that from you. You were walking, but your mind is thinking of solutions to the world while you were walking.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you speak, I didn't feel you are a very eloquent speaker, but your idea is really, really very good. And you express it very well. So I don't know whether Many people feel the same way. I think in this group, everybody will feel like what you do, right? Helping shape the world correctly, as opposed to the direction we are moving now is really bad and like getting worse. I do not know whether it's just us here that is feeling this way, or is it the majority of the world want peace and prosperity, or there are many people who just like to fight and bomb and kill each other? What do you feel? Dunstan, welcome. Have you been following our discussion on what is most important? You need to unmute.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, of course, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. What was the topic anyway? I just came on.
Okay, what is most important?
What is more important? What do you mean?
Yeah, you
When
can
I'm
interpret.
hungry, most important is food, isn't it? But so what is the topic? What is the question?
No, the question is like a hot topic, so you can interpret it any which way you want, but most of us interpret it as today's environment. The most important is community, is helping each other, is respecting each other, that kind of thing. So, but you can interpret what is important to you personally, for example.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll just pitch my few seconds here. I think what is most important to us is depends on the time of our life, I think. That is one thing we know. You see, when you are a kid, when you are a baby or you're just growing up, what is the most important thing to you in your life is your parents, are your parents, because they are the world to you, right? I mean, you don't really know what's going on. So your whole world centers around your family, particularly your father and mother. So at that time, that is the most important thing. Now, as you grow up in your teenage years, now for the boys and the girls, I'm sure you agree with me, there are certain things which you think is most important, right? And I recall when I was at that age, the most important things is looking at the girls, you see. I mean, that's me. I mean, I'm sure I'm being honest here. And you guys may want to hide the fact. The same with Dr. Salina. When you are that age, your girls, boys, the opposite sex is very important to you. And the other thing is because you are on the cusp of your life, therefore, at that time, your mind will start to talk about what is the most important for you in the future, in the near future. So you want to prepare yourself. So you choose courses which you think is suitable, which is going to help you on in your life. As you pass on to the next stage where you have your profession, the most important thing is you want to build up your profession to be efficient, and then you get married. The most important thing is your family, right? Your children, your wife, or your husband, and all these things. These are the most important. That's the focus. I'm leading on to this. Why I put it in this way. Now, when you finish your career, which most of you are still in your mid-career, yeah, building, there'll be a time when you have what they call retire. That's mean you're no longer in that. At that time, I bring this up because it's a personal thing. Recently, I joined an organization called the Society of Gerontologists and Geriatrics Society in Sarawak, right? Now, these are a society for people who are above the age of 60 or 55 or something like that. This means they have passed that life, the stage of life which many of you are in. And we call it the third age, right? Now, they sometimes it's quite traumatic experience as you go into the third age because you don't know what to do with yourself. Suddenly, you don't have a job, you already retired, and you're no longer important, right? Unless, of course, you are like your former Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. He wants to stay on forever, and he calls himself the senior ministers, even though there's a Prime Minister after that. And he still tried to pull the string. And I remember I know these guys quite well, right? Because I grew up in that period. And he said that when he dies, if he feels that the state of Singapore is not doing well, he's going to climb out from his grave and come and solve the problem for you. So some people still have that, right? But most of us, when we retire, we kind of lost. And for a while. So what I'm leading to is this: I'm organizing a conference, which I hope one day Ban Peng can organize a talk for me. I can talk about it. The conference is called Active Aging, Mind, Body, and Spirit. So at that age, what is the most important? We're still searching around, see? And so when you ask the question, what is the most important thing for you? Well, it depends on what stage of life you're in. Right? Of course, many of us, I noticed from the few remarks given by some of the participants, you all have a very idealistic kind of idea that everybody love each other, we sing love song and all these things, the world be better. But the world is a very complex place. It's not that, oh, I want to love everybody, you know. It's not so simple. We are conditioned by the surrounding, and we have to fight our own innate biasness, our laziness to find out more. For example, at the moment there is a impending world war coming up, and it's such a complex issue. You cannot say, oh yeah, you guys, you know, the Muslim and the Christian just love each other, everybody be hunky-dory. But actually, unfortunately, the world is not so simple. So what is most important for us? I think generally I said the most important for us, we should forever be honest and seek truth, and therefore have the courage to act on those truths. That is, to me, is most important for every age. That's all I can say. Thank you. I'm going back to my coffee now. I just came in.
Thank you, Dunstan. That's why before you came in, I told everyone you are the wise old man.
Oh, old man, right?
Yeah, wise old man. And you know a lot of stuff. In fact, I told them quite a bit about your history with Toastmasters, with your writing many articles published in newspaper, and your leadership in various NGOs in Malaysia. So I think they are really looking forward to your speech on leadership very soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we actually really feel there's a lot to learn from you, because you are really multifaceted. You have many dimensions of you with expertise and knowledge and insight into many different areas. So it's really very great to have you with us. Okay.
But please stop. I'm getting very scared now.
Okay. Now we welcome Yasmin and welcome Angelina from Indonesia and from Mauritius. Yeah, welcome. Yasmin, I think you heard the last speaker or the two last speakers. We are inviting each attendee to speak for a few minutes on what they feel is most important. Right? I think Dunstan had presented his perspective, depending on at what age or what stage of development you are in. What is most important is different, but various people adopted a different approach. So you are free to speak on this topic in any fashion you like, but tell us right now in your mind what is most important. Yasmin, please.
Thank you, Ban Peng. Thank you, friends. I'm happy to see Dunstan again after so many months. And with regards to your question, Ban Peng, you mean to say that what's more important in the world right now? Are you talking about the war or?
Okay, you can speak from a different perspective. You can speak from the world tensions kind of situation, or religious conflict, or whatever. You can speak from different perspective. You can choose which perspective, or you can speak from your personal life or your family life, what is most important to you, or from your career perspective, for example. You are free to choose.
Oh, okay.
That makes it more difficult.
No, from a personal perspective, if people wish to fight, they want to wage wars, up to them. But from my personal perspective, it's a planet which is suffering, and we don't know what will happen in the future. We have seen what happens when the global supply chain is disrupted. So from a personal perspective, I would say that humans need to be more humble because we think that we are superior beings compared to plants and animals. And plants and animals have shown that they can. Whereas for us, human beings, if our population is decreased significantly, the world will be regenerated. That's a fact. So the problem is certainly us, meaning our species. The problem has to do with human beings and actions. Therefore, it's up to us what to decide. And from my personal perspective, I would like to see more kind of sustainability or regenerative part of our daily living, because as consumers, whatever we are doing with our money, whatever we are doing, we are funding the destruction of this planet. Is there any way that we can drastically change? Maybe we have to go back in history, because we have the tendency to say that we were all cavemen, and it's only that industrialization that made us civilized. Whereas we can see that in several cultures, ancient cultures, they did not cross that red line of going against forces of nature. We were able to live in harmony with the forces of nature. There were certain red lines, and this is why even then we can see ancient buildings of unparalleled architecture, be it in several parts of Asia or even in Egypt. Where did those people have that kind of intelligence? It means that the intelligence was there. The know-how was there, but humanity at that time chose not to cross that red line, which we have crossed right now. So right now, what we are witnessing is that to boost the technological advancement, to boost the next wave of progress, the military complex has to run and has to get the profits. And this is why we see wars, and we see that the spillover effects in technological advancement is here for us to see. And we'll see AI powered military equipments in the future to kind of manage these wars and to reap the benefits of this war. And they will justify that we have to use AI military equipments to minimize human losses. What happens is that we'll have to get into the loop of consumerism, buying into those wars, and we are going to take sides out of religious affinity, political affinity, the ideologies. So it's up to us where we want to be. My personal perspective is that if we have to go back to, if we are truly for peace, then we have to start looking for ways to live off the grid. Are we in a position to do so right now, to be able to grow our own food, to generate our own electricity, to harvest rainwater, and to live completely off grid in the way that if others want to do the same, they can do it, they live peacefully? Or is it that we want to still be in that chain, and yet we keep on blaming others, meaning blaming governments, blaming other external forces for the plight that we are in? So it's kind of a paradoxical question. At the same time, I think that the solution is pretty clear, because we do have the means and resources and the know-how right now to try to change things drastically on an individual level, basing ourselves on what we are buying, on what we are funding with our money, and where the finance, where the direction that we are going when we are investing our money heavily and consuming for the medium and long term. That's my perspective. Banpeng. And my apologies because I won't be able to be in the meeting for long, but hopefully I can enjoy uh, watching other speakers and we can share other ideas. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Yasmin. I am really respect you as a speaker, as a thinker. Yeah, you think differently from the rest of us here. You define the problem from the global perspective, and you pick on a topic that is really, the problem is right in front of us, kind of urgent situation of a global problem of climate and harm to the whole world with the destruction of the planet. I felt your definition is really, really very good. And your proposed solution, one of which is living off the grid, is something that excites me. At the same time, I think in Singapore, our environment will not allow us or sustain us for living off the grid because we are very urban, high population density kind of environment. So maybe in certain countries where there's a lot of land, it's possible to live off the grid. If I'm in Malaysia, for example, I think there will be enough land for me to live off the grid. I can plant something, I can hunt, or I can depend on solar energy and things like that. So the solution, your definition of solution stimulated the thinking in me. Thank you very much. Angelina, can you hear me, Angelina?
Yes.
Okay. You have heard Yasmin and I think Dunstan earlier. Would you like to speak on the topic? What is most important?
Most important.
Yes.
For me, leadership skill.
Leadership skills.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us more.
Yeah, because the leadership skill somehow is not different with the genetical. We have to the goal setting. For example, if 2 months later we will New Year, right? So if my personal, if and you also for become the leadership, we have to goal setting for the next year. How to achieve, and we have to the team working, for example, because the small things, everything, and team building from starting from for me, for example, and another friends. And the insights, sometimes we have to conflict management. So we have to slow emotions and so many ways how to achieve, and started from the small thing from 3 months. For example, in January, and how to achieve for in the March. So after that, we have to correct bi-weekly because every day we have to many change for the for example, now I want to go to Bandung, and suddenly my big boss need no you have to follow me. Sometimes I have to follow which one. The leadership is very important because we have to achieve if we know the end and the result. We have to the corrections until in the end of the month, or we this week we don't have achieved because so many things the overtimes, and also our friends also sometimes they suddenly absent, so I have to the double job. In the small things we have to the lesson, we have to one way, and then the real we have to ask for my teamwork, how your problem is here, and how to problem solving. That's all from me, and thank you. Back to you, Bampeng.
Yeah. Thank you, Angelina. I think your friends call you Angel, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Angel. I should call you Angel.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see when you
Nickname,
speak.
my nickname.
Sorry?
Yeah, Angel, my nickname.
Yeah, Angel. I can see when you presented your idea, you adopted a very personal, professional life perspective of, I think, achieving goal and the importance of leadership and what happened if the leadership keep on changing the decision. It affect your achievement of your goals, right?
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I think what you've done, what all of you have done is demonstrated what Dunstan has said earlier. Different people look at it from different perspectives, depending on the stage of your life. Yeah. So for me, what is most important is to be able to live the life I dream of. So what life do I dream of living? The life that I dream of is to be able to do whatever I can, whenever I can. And from the perspective of meaningful member of society. Now, to have that vision of doing whatever I like, then I got to support it with mission. So what do I really do? Right? So number one, I need to be healthy. I need to be strong. If my health is not good, then definitely I cannot live the life I dream of. Then it leads down to, so how do I stay healthy and strong? Right? Proper diet, proper sleep, proper environment with the right people, for example. So that's one area of the dimension of the mission. Another mission to support this vision that I have, I need to have a lot of money. If I don't have money, especially in Singapore, things are so expensive, I'll be worrying about where the next meal will come from, or if my savings is enough, if I grow old and I cannot earn money anymore, or if I fall sick. So I must have a lot of money, and I must have more money coming in every day, more money that I can ever spend. So if I don't have that, I'm not free. I'm always worrying about my financial future. So having a lot of money is very important to me, right? Then what else is important in order to live the life? I need to have friends, to have relationship where we enjoy the time together. If having good health, having
Muted Bantam.
Oh, okay. So I say if it's no use having good health, having a lot of money, and you don't have good friends to spend your time with, if you don't have a worthwhile goal to work on, then what's the use of the money and the health, right? So to dedicate yourself to a cause, like what Yasmin say, try to do something to save the planet, for example, using less plastic even, or stuff like that, right? Don't waste water, even simple stuff. So I think those are important as part of the vision, the things I need to do in order to have the life that I want to live. So that's my presentation on what is most important to me. I think I want to welcome Hendra. Where are you, Hendra?
I am in Medan.
Welcome, Hendra. Long time didn't see you, yeah?
Yeah, I'm even on my way home driving, but it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you want a few minutes to speak about what is important to you, Hendra, while you are in Medan?
Pardon?
What is most important to you? Would you want to speak on this?
Oh, I have no idea yet. Let me follow first. Because I
Okay.
just suddenly just joined you. Then I have no idea what you're talking about just now.
Okay. No issue, no issue. Now it's
no.
about 8 o'clock. So we
Yeah.
are coming to a feature event for tonight.
Yeah.
Dunstan, are you ready? Dunstan, are you ready? If not, are you ready, Dunstan?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Do you want to
You
share
can hear me,
screen or
right?
anything? Can hear you. Do you want to share screen or anything?
Yeah, I'm going to do that now.
Okay. First I'll introduce you. Then
okay, make it short.
make it short. Okay,
I was a bit
okay.
worried.
I think most of the people already know you, so I need not say very much. But still, I think I want to say something. So first of all, ladies and gentlemen, this session is conducted or presented by Dunstan Chan. Who is Dunstan Chan? Right? Why would you want to spend time listening to him? Dunstan Chan is a very, very wise man with a lot of ideas worth listening to. Right? He is a lawyer by training. He was trained in UK. Right? He lives in Malaysia. He's a newspaper columnist. He writes, I think, hundreds of articles published in newspaper already. Right? He wrote many books. I cannot remember how many books he wrote, but they are not just written, they are published, they are sold, they are read. So this is a different type of author. We should take inspiration from them. Not only that, he still has time to volunteer in NGO, non-government organization, and the latest involvement was with the University of Third Age. Did I hear correctly?
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah, University of Third Age, where we are dealing with people who have finished the first age, which is when you are a dependent, you are a child, or a student, you are a dependent. The second age is when you have started working, so you can support other people, right? People become dependent on you. Eventually, we stop working, we go into the third age. Third age means you have finished working, you are financially independent, you don't have much responsibility in the world. So what is the challenge? Why do we focus on the third age? Maybe later on Dunstan will tell you as well, right? So he's very involved in that. And more than that, he is very, I would say, use the word athletic. He's not only a swimmer, he's a diver and a dive instructor and a diving, what do you call that? You take people, dive leader. Why is that important? It shows his involvement in so many dimensions is unbelievable. Like he has lived many lifetimes already based on the amount of things he's involved in compared to what many of us do. I think even if we live 2 lifetimes, we cannot write that many articles. We cannot write that many books. We cannot do so involved in so many NGOs. And he's also a platform speaker, workshop leader, a trainer, not only in Malaysia, all over the world, right? So he's a very much sought after person, and so we are very blessed to have Dunstan Chan speaking to us together. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dunstan Chan.
Thank you, Manpeng. How do I share screen? Can you let me share screen?
You can. You look at the. Are you using a computer?
Yes.
Yeah, you look at the bottom of the. Yeah, there you are.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Manpeng, for that very, what do you call this, generous remark. It's true, I've been around for a long time, and I've been involved in a lot of voluntary organization since I was in England. I lived half of my life in Britain until I decided to so-called retire and come back to Malaysia. And just as a quick note, it's interesting when I decided to leave Britain, I was not sure where I was going to live that time because Britain was my home. You know, I had a business there, I have a family there, I have a house there, and all that. So when I came back to Asia, I stayed for a while in Hong Kong, and then I also stayed for a while in Australia, and then I stayed quite a long time, 3 months in Singapore, to make up my mind where I want to settle eventually. Of all places, I found a small place in Malaysia called Kuching, where I'm in now. It's a small city, and I love it. So I've been here since then.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go through this thing now very quickly. When Banpeng asked me to talk about leadership, and I know many of you are actually into leadership and also been running program on leadership. For example, Dr. Halina, I think, runs quite an extensive program on leadership as well, right? So what I'm going to do here is this particular thing called the 7 C's of leadership is something which I did quite a long time ago. It's a full day program, so it's very involved. So what are we going to do here? I'm going to make it more interactive, so which means you do your input, right? So it'll be a lot of question and answer. You can answer some of them as well, right? So coincidentally, I find that when I was asked to write about leadership about 20 years ago, I found out that it is possible to come up with a slogan of 7 C's or 8 C's or 9 C's. I find out the quality and the attributes which a leader should have can be started with the letter C, you know. So I put C here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys, the first person who says something, then I will add your point into it, right? What are the C's, the quality and attribute you should have as a leader, right? So you notice that it is blank at the moment. So can somebody just give me, I have a piece of paper to write down. Give me your idea, one C, one quality, which you think as a leader you should have. Just one, right? Come on, quickly. We don't have time.
Charisma.
Sorry? Charisma. Okay. Go on. I'm writing.
Competence.
I think commitment.
Commitment.
Competence.
Something about computers, is it? Did
somebody
say
Competence.
Huh?
Competent.
Commitment.
Competence. Okay.
Character.
Pardon?
Commitment.
Commitment.
Commitment, yeah, me
Care.
commitment.
Somebody say care.
Character.
Commitment already said.
Somebody said caring,
Care, yeah, care.
commitment.
Commitment, competence, and charisma. All right. Any more? There must be some more as a leader.
Consistency.
Curious.
Curiosity,
Consistency.
consistency. Come on.
Did somebody say character already?
No, character. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Already. You can give me a few more.
Competent.
Then I will. Huh?
Competent.
Yes, we have that.
Already have competent.
Okay. Okay, never mind.
Calmness.
Yeah. Somebody say something?
Calm. The leader has to be calm.
Oh, calm. Being calm.
Oh,
Okay, that's it. So basically, we say the same thing. All right. Let me show you the next slide.
congruence. Okay. Communication. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm
missed that.
surprised you guys didn't say communication. You are communication organization. Then okay, this is enough for us at the moment. There are a lot more. Right? So I'm going to go through one by one, and then you can chip in. Why do you think this particular thing, quality or attribute is important as a leader? Right? Care. Anybody want to say? Otherwise, I will say it. All right. I will say it straight away. Right. I think as a leader, you have to care for your organization and the members of that organization. If you don't care, you cannot be a leader, really. Yeah. And I don't say this lightly because my own experience has been involved with voluntary organizations since 1980, right? Which is quite a long time ago. And this is not something which you can take lightly. In many voluntary organizations, there's always a temptation that people join this organization and become a leader relatively easily if they want to, is that they do it for their own personal agenda. It's for their care for themselves. I personally have seen this a lot, right? Where people want to be the president of this, president of that, so that when the VIP comes and gives some donation, they will have a photo. They always have the appear, they take photos and all these things, right? And this is very common because until 2 months ago, I was the president of the Social Welfare Council in Sarawak. Under the Social Welfare Council, which is an association of NGOs, I have 45 NGOs under me at that time. So which meant I have a lot of experience over the characters in the leaders there. And some of them really get themselves elected purely because of ego. I mean, purely they want to feel good. I am the president or something, So this is something which we always talk about. The first thing I feel is that as a leader, we should care for our members and the cause that's been the mission of your organization. And sometimes people ask me, what is the meaning of an NGO, of a voluntary organization? I find that I have a very short definition of it, and I hope you agree. I call it the cause, C-A-U-S, cause-related organization. In other words, when you set up an organization, there is a reason why you set up that organization or you join it. And that is the cause, the reason for its existence, the rationale for its existence. So that is so as a leader, the first thing you do, you must care for the cause. Right? For example, I am at the moment also I work for an organization. I mean, as a volunteer called the Thalassemia Society, and we have a world conference tomorrow in KL. So we care for the patients of thalassemia. It's a medical condition, right? And so our objective is very clear. How do we help the people who are afflicted with this medical condition? So that is our cause. So I care. As a leader, I have to care for my members. So I do whatever I can. Right? So care is very important. And I'm sure most of us would agree with that, right? Now, the other thing about care is this, therefore, we should not really have a VIP attitude, right? I know this is a very Asian thing, I mean, I'm not quite used to this because every time you go to a function and then the so-called leaders, they would have a special place there. I mean, that is okay. As an organization, we want to honor them for their services. But the problem is some of us gets into our mind that we are VIP, we behave like VIP, whereas other people treat you as VIP is okay. They appreciate your thing. But many people feel, what is a term nowadays we like to use called entitled. You feel that you're entitled, all right? Your special parking place, your special seats, your all these things. So as a leader, we should not hanker for such things. It may come to us. That's okay. You know, if the organizers decide to allocate a special car park for you, that's okay. But you don't demand that, right? So one of the manifestation of your care for organization is that you don't see yourself above everybody else in terms of treatment. That's one I believe very strongly. And therefore, our care is for our constituents, for the people served. And the second one, by the way, if you guys want to chip in, by all means say so, but maybe I have a session at the end where you write down notes, then later on you can come back to the point that you want to say, all right? We can discuss this. I'll just run through this thing which you have given to me just now. Commitment. This is something very important. If you choose to take up the post of a leader in an organization, you must have commitment. You have to make commitment to the particular cause of your organization. And what do we mean by commitment? It means the priority of your mission is always the priority in your life at that time. So you committed to it, right? And you have to, because of your commitment to the organization, and I put a picture of this boy, and he put his hand on his head, meaning he will think always, how can he make their organization you're serving better to fulfill its mission? You always think, it's the first thing you think of, right? And that to me is a leader, you know, a leader thinks of his organization. And it relates immediately to the question of competence. Yeah, and this I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of people who are leaders who are not competent. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean that you need to have a PhD, whatever it is, to be a leader. What I mean is this: when we start on the job as a leader, we may not be competent as regard to everything, but you must believe that you can learn. Somebody mentioned just now curiosity as one of the care. I think is Dr. Alima said that, isn't it? Curiosity, yes. As a leader, therefore, you always want to better yourself so that you can learn, you can become competent to lead your organization. And so you attend courses, you read books. Now, one of the things which I've always been talking about is this. There is a concept called governance. I mean, it's a workshop which I run called Good Governance and Best Practice. Now, the law and your own law and everything else to make sure that you act within the parameter of your, what they call this, organization. So you need to learn. For example, how many of us who are members of any organization are familiar with the constitutions of the organization? You have to be, because the constitution of your organization governs your relationship with each other. All the more so as a leader, you must be familiar with that, right? And you can learn. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you have to be good now. I'm saying that you must have the curiosity, you must have the desire and the belief that you can be competent, and you go and do it. You go and learn, and then you lead. So that is what I mean by competence here, right? And there are lots of books, there are lots of work, training, there are lots of things, workshop, everything about how to be a good leader. And you just have to have the commitment and to achieve that, acquire the competence. Right? See, this is something which we do, or at the time you learn all these things. Right? Courage. Courage. When you're a leader, unfortunately, because somebody, I don't know who posted it the other day, saying the leading from the back. Is it in this group?
Yes.
Is this in your? Yeah,
Yes.
somebody
Yes.
leading from the back. Okay, maybe it is. I think it means something else, you know. But in reality, is the leader must have the courage, and you have to be at the front. You have to stick your neck out. Sometimes you have to. You have no choice. You are the leader, right? And you have to make tough decisions. It may make you unpopular or whatever, but you have to analyze if it's the right thing to do. You must step out and do it. I give you an example. There are a lot of examples, but one specific example, I don't know whether Banpengs remember this or not, but I won't mention name, right? In the organization I was in at that time, there's always the person who is at the top, which is the governor or whatever you call them, right? And that year we have this thing called the speech contest. In fact, I took part in the speech contest as well. And that year there's a speech contest, and one contestant from Indonesia, I mentioned it, Indonesia, right, was selected to represent Indonesia at that conference, which is a huge conference at that time. I think it was one of the biggest conferences I attended. There's about 700 or 800 people, which is the biggest at the time. And unfortunately, this contestant from Indonesia, even though I believe he's the best, I think he's a great speaker, great leader, and all this thing, there is some procedural mistake they made on the way of selecting him, right? And you know, when we always we are kind of a rule-based organization. There are certain rules as regard to the procedure of selection of speakers, blah blah blah. You have to go through those steps. Now, you miss one of the steps, the person you select could be disqualified, right? So he was submitted as one of the contestants in this conference, and he was okay. But then somebody found out that there was certain breach of the procedure at the Indonesian division at that time. I don't know what they call it, level. Therefore, this person should have been disqualified. And this matter was being brought to the top people. And the leader, because this person who is a very good speaker and also quite influential person in his own area, the leader looked at it and didn't have the courage to make the decision, you know. Because if he make the decision to disqualify this person, he may become very unpopular. I don't know what is the reason. He just didn't know. He was paralyzed. He just sat on it, you know, and didn't know what to do, and didn't want to do anything. He was afraid. And eventually, it was about a week before the conference. Tickets bought, hotels being booked already. He finally has no choice. He had to say it, you know, that this person should be disqualified as per rule number blah, 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 right? And he's been sitting on it for 3 months. He was too scared to think. And it caused very bad taste in the mouth of everybody. And this person was so disgusted because he bought a ticket and everything else to go to the conference. And he left the organization, right? And I always remember that because this person later years, I know him. And this happened about maybe 20, 25 years ago. 20 years ago, I think. And I know him. And in fact, he is a very important leader in one of the biggest charities in his countries. He's director of a very big organization. Right? So he withdrew from the organization I was in. And then I feel that is a good example of the leaders was afraid to take that decision. And therefore, sometimes if you are sitting as a leader, you have no choice. If you go through the procedure on this thing, you have no choice. You have to take the hit, right? So that's the one thing I do. I know very well because I've been a leader in some organization. Sometimes a lot of pressure, you know, and you get quite scared sometimes, right? So you must have the courage. Now, this is not something which is all should know because you are in a communication organization, right? And I think I do not need to elaborate too much on this. Is this firstly, we must be able to communicate effectively. If you want to do something, it must be clear to our members the way you speak to them. Now, at the moment, I would just say two things. When I talk about communication, people straight away think of communication, of public speaking skill, which is what you tend to do, right? In Agora, in other organizations as well. You say how to be a good speaker, platform speaker, and all these things. There are two aspects to communication which is very important, I think, and each one of them is as important. Platform ability to speak in front of the audience, convey your message clearly with succinctness and all that kind of course, is very important. As a leader, you have to be there. And since we are primarily from Singapore, one of the person who was one of the best speakers and very clear in terms of what he said, it was Lee Kuan Yew. Right? And if you listen to him, he makes it very clear what he says, right? And he's straight to the point, and he are able to chunk the idea clearly, not kind of fuzzy thing, right? So that is it. But I feel that there is another aspect to communication which we tend to overlook, right? We overlook this what we call interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication. So far, we tend to focus on public speaking. Now, let's put it this way. How many times really you speak on a platform or as a public speaker on a stage in a year? All right. Now, for me, as a kind of a speaker, I do speak a lot. But honestly, most of us, I don't know how many times you speak in front of an audience of 500, no, or 100 even, no? Not many, right? So I always analogized public speaking to eating a feast, a dinner, a feast, right? You eat it a few times a year. But interpersonal communication is something you do every day. It's like your breakfast. You have to be able to communicate with your members, your exco, all these things. The skill of interpersonal communication is underlooked by most of us. And in fact, I hope one day I can run a workshop on interpersonal communication, all right? And most of you are in an organization, right? In meetings, if you are unable to talk to each other nicely, you don't get things done. Yeah? So communication is very important. It demands a whole few days of training or a workshop on that. Congruence. What do we mean by congruence? Huh? Anybody know what we mean by congruence?
Consistent, focused.
Yes.
What you say and do should be.
Yes. I always hear this term which I don't like. People always say, I think most of the time they're quite sarcastic. Do what I tell you to do, but don't do what I do, or something like that, isn't it? Right? And that is the time when you are a leader where it's being put to the test, That's mean whatever you communicate, you should act it out as well, right? And if there is a variance between what you communicate and what you do, it will break down, it will cause fissure inside the organization, right? And this is something I feel very strongly. Take, for example, I just relate to you. Once I was in this organization, there's a guy who actually gave a humorous speech, and it was quite funny, and it's a meaningful speech as well. He talked about how he became the head of a department. He was working in a public works department. He's an engineer. And he said, I'm going to share with you the secret of how to become the head of your department, right? So he gave us a few pointers. And the first one, he said, you must understand your boss and you must know what he likes, right? So his boss liked to play golf. So he learned how to play golf so that he can play golf with his boss. His boss liked to eat a particular food, so he used to make sure it's being available for his boss. So he went through that. In other words, they butter up to the boss. After a few years, all right, he said, you don't have to do any serious work as an engineer. All you need to do is to butter up to your boss, And true enough, after a few years, he became, when the boss retired, he became the head of that department. Then he came to a realization that he cannot trust any of his subordinate because he has gone through those insincere, dubious act in his own time and to get to the top. Now all the engineers under him, he don't trust them anymore because he feel that they're just saying good things about him just to get promoted. So he got stuck. So congruence, what you say and what you do, very, very important, right? Somebody did say character. Yes, character, definitely. Right? There is a saying, right? There is a saying. In most organization, voluntary organization you are in, we consider this as a noble cause, noble, right? That's when I call it the 5-star job. If you do any volunteer, it's a 5-star job. There's a saying that a 1-star person cannot do a 5-star job. You agree? Right? If you are a 1-star person, your character is suspect, but the organization is a 5-star organization. So you cannot be. And I don't want to drop name, but I have personally come across this kind of situation where somebody rose to the top of an organization, right? In fact, is just a 1-star person. And there is a saying, you can look it up by Zig Ziglar, right? He said that what you get when you achieve your goal is very important. But what you become in the process of getting your goal is even more important. So if you manage to get to the top by all kinds of intrigue and all kinds of plots and all this kind of thing, you have become a non-leader leader. So your character is very important. And I would mention that impact you recognize. So those are the kind of C's which coincidentally by chance seems to all come under C, So I put them together, and I think most of us who are in organization who aspire to be leaders and all this kind of thing would, I'm sure, agree that these are some of the characteristics, some of the values which we must have, which we must inculcate in ourselves to be a good leader. Leave it that maybe hopefully we can do some question or some contribution from you guys so that I won't be standing here talking all the time. But before we do that, can we just do this? I just want to do this. I want to leave this with you. Can you see it?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Put up your voice, the sound.
But you must select the audio as well when you play, when you load it up.
Can you hear, Bante?
No, the audio is not coming through. So when you do the share screen,
don't worry about the audio. There's no. It's in Tamil, I think so. Just watch. Just watch.
Okay.
So there's a tree fell on the road and it caused a traffic jam. That is the story, right? And everybody was talking about it, and it started to rain, right? In the meantime, the traffic back up, right? Nobody wanted to do anything. They all talked about it, right? So this little boy decided that he wants to do something about it, and he wants to push the tree out of the way. So eventually, all of them, the other people were so inspired by this boy. They all helped, except these officers who were sleeping in the car, right? And, okay.
Wow. Wow.
How do I get out? So my ending here is this. These are qualities which we think, some of the qualities which we think is important to have as a leader. And this is a Zen thing saying that to serve others, you master yourself. Meaning those qualities are not easy to come by. You have to work on it. You have to have the courage to take it, to spend time on it. So you have to master yourself. You master over your weakness, your laziness. Then you can serve others. Thank you for your time. And if you want to contribute to the discussion, please do so that we can continue. Okay? All right, I'll stop the share. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys, if you have anything to say, to add, maybe you have other ideas, you can throw in. We can talk about it very quickly.
Okay, I have something problem with my computer. You carry on. I will get my son to help me fix it.
Okay. Anybody want to say anything to contribute to this thing?
Yes, what I wanted to say is that it was a very relevant presentation.
I don't know. It just
I
disappeared.
felt,
I didn't do anything. I was watching.
Banting, can you mute yourself first? Okay. Dr.
yes,
Halina.
yeah. So it was quite comprehensive presentation covering all the important aspects of the leadership. What I would like to ask, or I can say the draw attention of the this house is that leaders sometimes, they don't pay much attention towards their own learnings, because normally they are in the position when they have achieved something in their life, or maybe they have some more experience than others, and then they reach to that point. So because how to make the people understand that learning is important, whether they are at any stage of the position or any stage of their life. If we stop learning, then naturally we stagnate, and then we will not be able to serve the people. So do you have some certain very solid points? Because as you said that I'm also in the same field, like developing the leadership skills, but I find it difficult. But the middle level people, freshers, it is easy to convince, but the middle level people or higher level people, it is more difficult even to make them understand the importance of learning.
I agree with you. And frankly speaking, in my own experience as a speaker and even trainer and all this kind of thing, is that most people are very lazy. and this is the unfortunate thing of the world. I live half of my life in England. I was involved in a lot of organization. I came over here, I've been involved with a lot of organization in Southeast Asia and Asia. I find that on the whole, people are lazy, right? They have to be motivated, unfortunately. So one of the somebody mentioned just now charisma, right? I think it was James who talked about charisma, isn't it? It's true that maybe one of the things we need to have as a leader is we have to have the skill, the charisma to motivate people so that they want to walk the extra mile. Learning is very hard, I have written an article. Banpeng said that I write. Yes, I published about 500 articles, which is a lot. It's since 15 years ago, every week. So there's one article I wrote, right, which is taken it from the, actually a bit of a biblical kind of a thing. It's called the what do you call them now? The prisoner, the tourist, and the learner. And this was the experience I gave from my own self, right? So whenever the organization asked me to run a workshop, all right, of course, I have the workshop, I run the workshop, and then the staff being sent there. Some of them, they really don't want to go. But the boss said, you must go. So they sit there and they consider themselves prisoners for 2 days, 3 days, listening to me and their face and all this kind of thing. They just don't want to do it. And I relate to you this experience of mine. I attended a training by Zig Ziglar, the late Zig Ziglar, all right, in America, and we were in a retreat on the mountain. On the first day, the Zig Ziglar will ask everybody why they want to attend this retreat, right? Everybody said they want to learn this and that. And then this one very arrogant guy from a big company, and he said, I find that I don't have anything to say. I don't want to be here, but I have to be here. All this kind of thing, he was really negative. And everybody was stunned and we kept quiet. Then during lunchtime, I noticed that he was missing, right? So I asked Zig Ziglar, I said, hey, what happened to that guy, Yeah, you know what we did? Because we are on a mountain resort. So we took him, all right, and sent him to the bus stop or wherever it is there and kick him out. I said, wow, that's drastic. Huh? He said, yeah, we cannot have this person inside our training. Helena, you should know this. Because this person, if he's there for 3 days, he will put a wet blanket on everybody, right? And it affects, So the question of wanting to learn is very difficult. So I have the prisoner, then I have the group called the tourists. I know this very well because I live in a relatively small city like Kuching. So when they ask me, where is the workshop going to be? Then the boss, I say, oh, well, it's going to be in Kuching. And everybody feel, so if it's in Singapore or KL or Langkawi, yes, we want to go there. They want to attend the workshop so that they can go to these places. They are tourists. They are not learners, right? You find that as well. That's why whenever we hold conference, we want to project the center of the conference or something very exotic they want to go, right? So that is something which I find, and then the last one, of course, is the people who genuinely want to learn, the learners, and these are very few, and these are gems, right? And this, in fact, those of you who are Christians, and you may be familiar with the parable of the sower and the seeds. Those who are Christian of you, right? The sower and the seeds. But Jesus said that when the sower, that's when the person, the plant, throw the seeds, and then some of the seeds fell on the ground, barren ground. Some of the seed fell in the briar, in the bushes, and only some who fell on the fertile soil. So Helena, I know you are a trainer. I know these are reality you have to face, and it is our struggle. In conclusion on that particular section, I would say this. I did run, I think, a talk at one point. Is maybe you can read a book, or we can run one section called the seven, what is it? I cannot remember. Something 7 habits of, not our friend Stephen Covey. No, him, all right? I'm sick of hearing him, all right? And the 7th habit, I think, or something like that. Oh, think like Leonardo da Vinci.
Okay.
Think like Leonardo da Vinci. I don't mean the actor, Leonardo, whatever his name is.
Gabriel.
The real man.
Gabriel.
Think like, I actually ran a workshop on it, and maybe one day we do it, right, with the PowerPoint. The 7 characteristics of Leonardo. The first one, which is what you say, the first one is what the Italian call it, curiosità, all right? So in life, you must have the thirst for knowledge. And that's what Leonardo, one of the first ones, right? Just to have the curiosity is not enough. You have to go further. So you have 7 habits, right? Okay, that's it for that. Thanks, Helena. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think you started off with number 1, care for the cause. Yeah, I think that is very important. Care for the constituents, care for your people, care for the cause. I think that is a core foundation, right? I think you also highlighted the problem today that people do not, or many leaders do not really care for the cause or care for the constituents. They care for themselves, but they are very skillful in getting themselves into the leadership position.
I
Right.
know
So,
that. I know that.
so the question is, how do we save an organization that has this type of leaders who are very good at getting into that position and
Yeah.
maintaining the position and don't want to let go, right? Is there a
Well,
cure to this?
well, there are a few things, all right, which I must say this now is this. When you say there are leaders who are like that, I always want to put a caveat. That's mean what they call this, a warning, right? So organization in Malaysia, I think in the same Singapore as well, we have what we call good governance practice. So which means the Singapore shares the same as Malaysia in the sense that we use the Societies Act, which was written in 1966.
Right.
I said before. All right, we used to share the same. All right, it gives you a general guideline. Not line is a law which you must do as an organization. Otherwise, the leader will just get the position for himself, right? So there are this is what I call the governance. I actually run a workshop on that called the good governance and best practice. That is okay. You have to be that. The second thing which supposed to protect you against egoistic leader is that your constitution. You must understand your constitution. The constitution is drafted to protect everybody, to stop this kind of nefarious character of running it like his grandfather's business, right? So that is something else, you see. So these are the thing. But I would say this: we also should protect ourselves from ourselves. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
One day
Tell
I
me
will
more.
talk about that.
Yeah.
We are actually prone to such selfish desire. We're not immune, we're not saints. We may think that, oh, I'm a leader, I'm a very good, I'm a saintly one, but we may be. We are subjected to this. That's why we should protect ourselves from ourselves. That's why the rules and laws and regulation of your organization, the mission, everything, you have to adhere to it. There's no choice. So I had an image, which I don't want to throw it now, is of when we're sitting there, there is another person standing over us, You do not know that it's there. His name is ego. In everyone, there is that ego in us, all right, in us. So we have to protect ourselves from ourselves. So that's the only thing I can say is that bad people around, it could be ourselves as well, you see, but this is the struggle we have to face, and it's a constant struggle. Sorry, Bampeng, I didn't give you a good answer, but we need to go through a lot of things.
This is important.
Workshops.
I think you're absolutely right about knowing the constitution, knowing the rights and the governance to keep the group in the right direction and focus on the right thing. So I think that's really good advice.
One thing before I forget, I want to give you an example which is you as Singaporean should know. I won't mention the latest one because it may be sensitive. About 15 or 20 years ago, there was a man, maybe I can say his name as well. He became the CEO or executive director of a very big organization in Singapore, right? And he was such an efficient fundraiser. He was fantastic, And in the space of 5 years, he has accumulated 250 million Singapore dollars for that organization. I don't know whether you guys know. I'll give you the reference. You can go and read the case later on. All right. And his case is this. Because he has done so much for the organization, I think he feels that he's entitled to certain things, right? And then there was accusation. Later on, it became a court case, and he lost the court case. That he even have a gold-plated tab. All right, yeah, I think you may know
Yeah,
who I'm
right,
talking
right,
about. I
right.
actually followed the case as a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then he has painting would cost 1 million, right? And he attended conferences all over the world, always fly first class and all these things. And this is something which doesn't fit into the charity organization is in. Yeah? And there may be other issues, right? So this is the problem for us, is this is why we talk about protecting ourselves from ourselves. Now his argument was actually, I mean, one of the things they accused him was that he paid himself very high salary, which to me actually is not very high, but it was very high, 660,000. At that time, I think maybe in Singapore, 660,000 a year is it a lot? I don't know, because I don't get paid, all right? But his argument is that if I work for a corporate organization, for a company, in a space of 5 years, I can accumulate 200 million Singapore dollars for the company. 660,000 a year is peanuts. Correct not? Isn't it? So he is correct, but there are other issues. What I mean is this: as a leader, you have to look into yourself. And you have to protect yourself from yourself. Sometimes I also feel like that I abuse my position, right? But in a small way. But I have to be careful, so I have to try to be humble all the time, which is quite difficult. Sometimes if people say, oh yeah, Mr. President, you're here, things like that. But it's okay. I try.
Yeah, I think Singapore learned a lesson from that. So now the governance become a very serious matter for charitable organizations, and then code of conduct and things.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but they didn't learn. Because
still going
the
on.
case of Burai was about 15, 20 years ago. Your most recent case was about 3 years ago. So it took them 15 years. They still didn't learn. All right. Let's not go into that, right?
Right.
You can read about it.
Talk to us about leadership from the perspective of formal position kind of leadership versus some people exert leadership even though they are not in the formal leadership position.
Yeah. The people who are quietly doing things and you never realize they are the leaders, right? I think maybe you're touching on something which is which we should talk about one day. I mean, Helena may have some course, and this is a bit Christian kind. The servant leadership concept. Ever heard of that? All right. And maybe that is something which you can explore, is the question of servant leadership. And do you know where the terms originated from? Anybody?
No, I think must be some Bible story, right?
Yeah, and any Christians in this group? I see some people with Christian names.
Shauna is Christian.
Yeah, no. Okay,
Shauna,
tell me. Unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, actually, I don't.
Huh?
I have heard this servant leadership. It's by
Did you
servants,
ever read your gospel? You're Christian. Are you Christian? You're Christian, right?
Yes, I am.
Which denomination are you?
I'm a Jacobite, a Syrian Christian.
Huh?
From Syria. I mean, the head is in Syria.
Oh yeah, what is it called?
A Jacobite Syrian Christian.
Oh, Jacobite, yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay, never mind. I tell you this. In one episode in the life of Jesus Christ, when he washed the feet of his disciple, remember?
Right.
Now he washed their feet. And that picture is being used to convey the concept of servant leaders. So as leader, you are also serving. You're serving. So that picture, which we use, that picture should be around about a few thousand years. Now recently we start to bring out the term servant leadership, right? So that is what it is. So Ban Peng talks about, who is it was asking me about? See, servant leadership is a concept, it is a reality, which we can spend also a lot of time talking about it and what it means. So we can talk about concept. but we should also talk about case studies so that you can relate it to the concept. All right. And I'm a storyteller. That's a problem. You ask me to speak, I can speak for a few days. So I try to stop myself from doing that, because for everything, you always have a story to relate to, right? And servant leadership is a good example. Maybe you can look at some of the organization. One of the organization I'm very impressed with is a Buddhist organization. Some of you may know it. Can you name me that very famous Buddhist charity, which is the biggest in the world now? Ayoo! The biggest charity in the world. They have free hospitals, schools, and all that kind of thing. Tzu
Sochi is global, man. I know they have in Singapore.
Yes, Tzu is the biggest in the world. You do not know that Tzu in Indonesia, any Indonesian here, has a school where all the students are Muslim. Huh? And the concept Tzu, which I mean is something else, I can talk about it again, but the concept is called Ta Ai, the big love, right? The important thing about the Tzu, which is the Buddhist organization primarily, is that they extended the love to all sentient beings. You know what's the meaning of sentient beings, right? So we tend to talk about love for human being, but they extend it to love for all creatures in this world. We can talk about that. They have a lot of fantastic things, and I've got fantastic story about them and how they started, which is very, very, very interesting. All right, and we don't have time to do it, but it's a very fascinating story how it started. It started by an 18-year-old nun. It's a novice at that time, and this is for those who are Christians. There is a term which we use nowadays as well called epiphany. Epiphany, when something happens and it wakes something in you, and that the origin of Sutik was an epiphany. And it's fantastic. One day I will tell you. I have too many stories, so okay, let me keep quiet.
Okay, maybe I can ask the rest of the people. How do you measure the success or effectiveness of a leader? What has to happen before you say this person is an effective leader, is a successful leader? Aaron, can you share your thoughts?
I think there are two areas. One is internal, means within the organization. I think that's how the Dunstan Chan mentioned about the foundation. See, to him, the world see him very good. Internally, somebody discovered that there's something wrong. So I think as a leader, you have to look at internally an organization. Can you manage all your subordinates or your colleague or your staff? Externally, how people perceive you and the organization you are representing. So as a leader, I think mentioned Dunstan, all the C's are very important because it gives a leader the full understanding of himself, taking himself, seeing himself, I mean, all the charisma mentioned, competent, the different terms used, and also these can be bring forward to the world because when you see the Kuan Yin mentioned earlier, or you see any leader from Indonesia or from India, how these people come about. When remind me of Gandhi, all these are leaders of different ages. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you're looking at internal aspect of the person as well as the public image of the person to come to a conclusion whether or not he is in fact an effective leader. Okay, what about doctor?
Can I just counter to what Aaron just said? There's something else which we may miss, is this. That we tend to think in terms of us going to our organization and changing the organization or making the organization go. It could work the other way, Your cause, your organization may have changed you. Right? And I've written an article times ago. It's called The Gift to the Giver. The gift to the giver. You give as a volunteer to something, but you didn't realize that act, you give actually is a gift to you. It changes you, right? So that is something which I just have to put in because it is very important. You can feel yourself changing as you work, in some noble cause.
Yeah, thank you,
Sorry,
Dunstan.
Doctor. Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Halima, I want your feedback on how you measure whether a person is an effective leader or
Yeah.
successful leader.
Thank you very much. First of all, a leader has to have a vision. And without vision, we cannot conceptualize any leadership. When the leader is able to achieve that vision for what he has started his leadership, why he has come forward, what he wants to achieve with his followers. So we have to measure his success with his visions, how much he was able to accomplish. Like suppose if we talk about Jesus, if we talk about other religious leaders, Muhammad and other religious leaders, so we find that they had a vision, and for that vision, they approached the people, and the people have become their followers. And then by the end of their life, or by the end, because leadership continues till the end of our life. It is not something that we have done for 4 or 5 years leadership and then we can take the back seat and then now I am not a leader, I will not follow those principles. We cannot do that. Once we have taken up some principles, that should continue, that will continue throughout our life. So we have to measure their success with the success of their vision. If their vision is not accomplished, it means that they are not the successful leaders. But we should not, at the same time, I should accept it also that we should not measure it with the number of people, because sometimes the number of people may be less, but the impact of the vision is high. So it has to be seen very comprehensively, that how a person is successful in the vision or in the accomplishment of the goal for what the person is taking the leadership role.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I want to ask you clarification on the point you made, that to measure the success of a leader, you measure against what he achieved, against his vision, right? Now, is this a one-stop measurement, or is it evolving? That means, let's say if you take a leader like Muhammad or Jesus or Confucius, has their vision been achieved, or is it ongoing? Is part of a process, or they are a failure because it's not achieved yet? How do you measure that kind of leader?
No, it's evolving, because, once leadership means that your physical presence is not important. Leader means that even if you are not there, your vision, your principles, your strategies, your followers will carry your vision. So that doesn't go with us to our graves. It continues, whatever vision we have taken up. So it is, and even the measurement of the success also evolves by the time, and by the sort of followers we have to look at them, and then we have to measure that.
What do you feel, Dunstan, on this area?
Well, yeah, I think Dr. Helena brought up the concept of the idea of visions, right? And there's always a saying that a leader, he has this vision and he take the people towards that vision, right? I agree to a certain extent, but there is slightly a different approach to it. It's taking people to a place, right? That's generally is true, right? As a leader, you lead them there, right? But the other way is this: if you understand the people whom you're serving, they may not be able to articulate it into a vision as you do. They may have a vision of their life. So this is why we talk about servant leadership, learning from their followers. If you try to learn, what do they need? What do they want? So you take them to the place where they want, but you have the skills of communication, blah, 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 which you can encapsulate it into a slogan, whatever it is. It's easier. But a lot of people, they know they want something. So The leader's humility is that they must learn from the followers. What is it they want? Not what I want. All right? Not what I want. What you think they want. You may not know. You have to work. You have to work. You have a lot of work. You have to understand. Yeah. And while we are on it, I want to say this. I mean, I'm sorry, I sound a bit like Christian. Actually, I grew up in a Christian mission, but I'm different. I'm not, right? I belong to a different mindset completely. Those of you who are Christians, and then you or in any other religion, you tend to listen and look at the words of these leaders. You tend to be, and then you quote the words to justify your action now, right? But as a Christian, actually, if you think deeply, because I'm doing a postgraduate on this kind of thing, is think deeply, right? Look at the life, for example, a person by the name of Jesus, all right? Did he ever teach anybody? Did they teach the way I do or you do? Say, oh, you must do this, you do this. He never, all right?
By action.
He really tells stories, okay? But what was his most important teaching? This is what I said earlier on, right? The congruence. His life was the lesson. His life, not just his words. This is a man who died at the age of 33, who has a chance to be the king of the time, who was crucified. And he said, where does the Son of Man, he calls himself Son of Man, can put his head? Even a bird has place to sleep and he doesn't have. You see? He went on to do his work, and his life was, so the greatest teaching of the leader sometimes actually is their life, not the words. Remember, I used the term congruence, right? It's they live the life. Right? But anyway, let's not talk about that. I can be a preacher on that as well. The second thing which I want to relate to here is this, there is a Chinese, I don't know, I coined it up, it's my own experience. Those of you who are Chinese educated will understand what I'm saying. It's called 公比命长.
公比
You
命
know,
长。
公比命长, right? Meaning, this I learned from a farmer. About 45 years ago, I came from a field study and I went to a farming community, small village. And I was a city person, then I live in London and all that. So I was sitting having dinner with the farmers. And then I look at his place, all the woods are all over the place, a bit messy for a person who grew up in the city, who live in the modern kind of a office, everything is neat, file everything. And so I look at him, I said, look, what's the matter? Your place is so untidy, So then he said something. Now, 公比命长. He said, the work which you have is more longer than your life. You will die first. All right. So as a leader, we accept that. We accept that we want to do something. We may not be able to achieve within our own life. We will die first, most likely. But the work to be done still has to be carried out. And if we approach the thing that way, then you take yourself out of the equation. You don't measure the success of the particular organization based on your personal success. And I work with so many welfare organizations. I know that I've seen people who have cancer, for example. All right, and I work with Children Cancer Society, and yeah, whatever I do, it will never be a time when there is no such things. When I die, all right, we still need this organization, something like this. And sometimes, of course, we have under the illusion that we can, for example, there is a campaign which took out many years. It's called polio, the anti-polio campaign. Remember, in the 50, 60 years ago, a lot of children have polio, and they somehow the campaign managed to get rid of polio. And the leaders may feel, oh, great, we have achieved it. Recently, the news that polio has come back. You see? So for us in organization, it's always a continuous struggle. Our life will end, right? Before the struggle may continue on. So Kong to Ning Chang, one thing you better enter that into your lexicon.
Yes, in fact, I've taken a lot of notes as you speak. And we are also recording this session that will go on YouTube a little bit later. So more people can benefit, because I think Singapore at the moment, a lot of people are attending the fiscal meeting. Less people are coming online now, so they can still watch. I want to ask whoever want to share the important role of the followers when they're talking about getting the people to where they want versus getting the people to where they ought to be. So from the leader's perspective, because Dunstan and Dr. Halima talk about the mission is to get the people to where they want, right? As opposed to getting the people to where they ought to be, right? And then where's the role of the followers in this type of discussion? Anyone can contribute? Shauna, you try first. Don't depend on Dunstan to give you the model answer.
Could you repeat that question, Dunstan?
Okay. First, I present the two alternative view. One is about the mission of the leader to get the people to where they want to go.
Yes.
As opposed to the role of the leader to get the people to where they ought to be in the mind of the leader, right? And in this scenario, think of, in this case, what is the role of the follower?
So the follower is the...
Never mind, you can deal with the three sentences separately or jointly, is okay.
The role of the follower is to try and go where the leader is trying to take. Is that what you're saying?
No, different people may say different things, but you are free to give your perspective. So what role does the follower play? What is their contribution to the group as a whole, for example? Good leadership is more important or good followers is more important. That kind of idea, right?
Yes. So I think both are equally important. It goes side by side, because if one person is leading and the other is not following, it doesn't work. So so what I mean is, if somebody feels that a person is taking them along a certain path, then you try and follow that. And I'm sure the person who's leading knows the one that they are trying to lead as well, very well, so that they know where they are taking them as well, and the other person follows. So I don't know whether that makes any sense.
No, you make sense. You paint the scenario where the leader knows more or knows better than the followers, therefore they lead, right? But that's not always the case, right? Because sometimes the followers may actually be more knowledgeable, or they may have more insight to the problem than the leader, for example. Right. So
can I just say something here? I mean, related to what Shona was saying is that your question is, what is a good follower? Actually, that's what you're asking, right? And this is something I find very stark in Asia, is this: people don't speak up. You see, people just don't speak up. And this is saying, and in the West is the opposite. They speak too much, and they get confused. You see. So we are in Asia. We talk about Asian mentality. People really don't speak up. And one of the curse for the society and organization is apathy. Yeah. Then those of you who are Hokkien, you say that mai chap su. Yeah. But in a kopitiam, they complain. Right. So I come across a lot of this. Is that people will chismis, they call it in Philippine, meaning gossip this and that. They don't like this and that. And then I say, look, if you have any complaint, maybe you should raise it in the organization so you can deal with it. They don't want. This is a characteristic in Asia. This is one of the problems in Singapore and Malaysia. Right, I have experience in this. And when you're out of it, they talk a lot. And it is the fear. I don't know what is it. So as a good follower, I think is that you should contribute by speaking up so that the leaders can learn from you, you know, and that is something which I feel very important for us to work together. So it is not a question of leader, followers. We are actually in the same team, and we have to share, you know, the responsibility. And as I said, the thing which I find very annoying is that, of course, I work with many organizations here, and sometimes people complain a lot outside in the kopitiam, right? And then when it comes to the general meeting, I say, hey, why don't you say what you said yesterday? No. I don't want. I'm just a follower. I just sit there, you know. And this is one of the curse which we have to fight, and that's why we form organization, the Agora and all these things, to give you the courage to express your ideas clearly, you know, and it will help. So a good follower is somebody who would contribute seriously to the whole movement, right? And you have to speak up so that the leaders can help. And because just now Halina was talking about a leader must have a vision, and then she was talking about more kind of a technical thing, how to achieve your vision and all these kind of things. But if you don't contribute to the leaders' visions, help them, they cannot execute, you see. So essentially that's what we are saying. We have to speak up. We must learn how to speak up. And this is where I always mentioned the question of interpersonal communication is very important. You can speak up not without being antagonistic. This is one of the problems. When they speak up, they become very aggressive and they challenge each other. No, we should think of our critique. It's a contribution, not a challenge. And we tend to do that. That's why people don't want to speak up, because they feel that whenever they speak up, it is perceived as a challenge, you know. It should be a contribution. You know? That's how I see it. Sorry.
Thank you. Angelina, I think you must have heard Dunstan just say, as a follower, you must speak up. I think you have typed something in the chat group. Can you speak up now? Yeah, talk to us.
Dunstan Chan, what your opinions related about leaderships and follower, and somehow how about the debate?
Debate, okay.
Yeah, debate and complaint.
Debate and complaint. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay. Different or the same thing?
Yeah. Okay. I will answer in a different way. I think that I don't like the term debate. Firstly, all right. Debate is a game which we play in school, right? To show who's right. That's what we are. If I'm a good speaker, I will win the debate by arguing until you give up. So I win, right? So it's analogous to argument. When we argue, we are trying to establish who is right. I'm right or you're right, right? I like to introduce the term called sharing and discussion. When you're sharing a discussion, you're not looking for who is right. We try to collectively find what is right. You understand what I'm getting at? I may argue with you just to prove I'm right. Even if I win, it doesn't mean anything. But when I argue with you, when I discuss with you, I share with you, your wisdom and my wisdom fused together, maybe we can find what is right. So that is the essence of communication. I think Agora, for the other organization I was with, also we have the same vision, meaning that we want to share and collectively we learn what is right. What I fear most of us tend to enter in any kind of argument is that we want to prove we are right. As long as we are right, that's why I don't like the term debate. Debate means you want to show that you win. You win. You may be wrong, you know, but you will, because you are a better speaker, you win, huh? And things like that. So I hope you guys, all of us, become more active in a way by contributing ideas and activism within the organization.
Okay, we got
Sorry.
another 13 minutes to go. We want to end at 9:30. Now it's 9:17 Singapore time. Is there anything important any of you want to ask Dunstan or want to discuss, want to share? This is a time to do it. Hendra, is there something you want to share or want to ask or want to discuss? Pak Hendra, I think it's a different time in Medan. What about Aaron? Aaron.
I'm driving.
Oh, you're driving. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
okay. Yeah.
I just listen what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank
Maybe
you.
I just round up with a few points there, Ban Peng,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And I think we started this talking about leadership, right? And it is, I know leadership is a kind of very popular topic. I mean, everybody talk about leadership. There are hundreds of books on leadership and all this kind of thing, and workshop and all leadership and all these things. Now, I think that we have to think of two things, right? One is when we talk about leadership as a value, right? As a phenomenon of moving people, right? That the whole thing about vision, mission, all these things comes in, right? That is one aspect. But a lot of the time when you attend workshop on leadership or training on leadership, they're actually dealing with skills, not with that, all right? That's mean the one like Dr. Halina was saying about you have to have vision, then you have to do your planning. So essentially, you're talking about strategic planning and action plan. A leader must have that, right? That's mean you have an idea, then you have an overall strategy, what you're going to do, this, then for each item on the strategic plan, you have action plan, who's going to do it. Now, in a lot of cases, we tend to fall short is where we may fall short on different. Number one, there are cases I've seen countries, even at the country level, right, where people don't have strategic plan. They don't have plan. They just do something, right? And one of the problems of that is because we live in a situation where the politician determines the plan, because they will do something which benefits them, so that the idea of the politicians, they must stay in position. So they got to do something which people say, oh, yeah, this good guy, we're going to vote for him. So their plan, the strategy tend to be not in relation to the whole thing. And that's one of the issues involved, that we need to have a strategy. And as a leader, you need to understand that. And to understand that, you must study your mission. You have to ask yourself, why does this particular organization come into being? What is the reason? And what is the mission? And that is the first step. You must know why you exist. No? So once you know, then you have to share with together with your leaders, your core leaders, to plan of what are the things we're going to do. This is the strategic plan. We got to do this, we got to do this, all kinds of things, strategy, That tend to stop there. That's the problem. And we tend to talk about it, and that's it. But the crucial thing is the second part is called action plan. All right. So we have to break it down to details, right? Okay, we want to, for example, assuming one of our strategies is to raise funds for our organization. Then you have to explain your strategy, why you want to raise fund, blah, 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 all this kind of thing, right? Okay, everybody agree, go, we're going to raise fund. That's it. No, that's not it. Because now you have to put into effect an action plan. Who's going to lead the different component part within the plans? What is the timeline? What is the budget? All these things has to be done, right? And I think they call it Gantt chart or something like that. But anyway, it's a fancy name. It means things has to be done by somebody within us. So now it comes by the question of which Sharon was talking about, the leaders and followers and all this thing. This is where the followers, so-called followers, are in fact leaders as well. They have to volunteer their time and skills and talent to act to help in the action plan. They may not want to be involved in the overall strategy because it may be too big for them, but they are good. For example, somebody mentioned something computer just now. Somebody put the word computer in there somewhere. I don't know who is it. For example, now we have a lot of young people who are very good on computer, they are internet savvy and all these things. They may not have the kind of overview which you have as a more senior person, all right? But they have that specific things. And when they join us, we give that job to them, right? Like now I'm doing it actually. I hope one day I will be able to talk to you. This is for next year. I have a conference, right? At the moment, I'm in the phase of promoting and marketing. Now, at this present age, the most powerful marketing force is the social media and the internet. In the old days, Ban Peng was with me. In the old days, it's different. You know, we've got to go directly to people. Now, so I'm recruiting a team of young people, you know, who help me to present or do the website, do all these things, and then what they call this thing, they're boosting it in Facebook and all kinds of things, right? So what I mean is, therefore, as a leader, therefore you have your strategic plan, you have your action plan. In the action plan, you can draw in a lot of people with different skills. And these people with the skill may not necessarily subscribe, they may subscribe, but they're not involved in the overall planning. They just give you that bit. And I think for organizations to move on, the leaders should have that kind of view, right? And we call it the bifocal leadership. What does it mean? Bifocal leadership means, one, you have a big distant view, right? Of things. You standing on a mountain, you can see far. That's why you're a leader, you have the vision, you can see, right? Then the second one, you have to go down to the minute part. So the leadership must have two: overview, micro view. Macro and micro, we call it. That is what, if you can take away that, would be great. Now you have to decide where you are at this moment in time, as far as you're concerned, all right? And you may be at the age where you are at a different position in your life, right? And so you have to decide for yourself. And there is a saying that some people get leadership born, I can't remember, something to do with they're born into leadership, or there are leadership thrust upon them, right? Situation demands a leader and you happen to be the only one around. That is the reality of life. Anyway, I think I thank you guys for listening, and I hope that is of some help. And one day maybe we will do a specific kind of workshop which is more detailed on certain topics, which we can share. Right?
Yeah.
And with that, I think we can sign off. I think it's time.
Yeah. First of all, I think we should give a round of applause to show our appreciation to Dunstan. I'm very inspired, Dunstan. I think you are right in that leadership. This topic is very broad and it can go very deep. So
Yes.
next month, can we can we make it into a series where we go deeper into different
Yes.
silos?
Yes, we
Okay,
can. We can look
I'll
at
book your
different
time for
aspects.
next month. Yeah, I'll book your
Yeah.
time for next meeting. It'll
No,
be the
you can book something for me. I want something from you, right? You think it's free? As a professional speaker, people pay me a lot of money to speak, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway,
okay.
never mind.
That
What
means
I
the
want is
price.
this. But you help me, huh?
Okay.
As I said, I'm organizing a conference in March 2024, 16 and 17 of March.
Wait,
And it
let
may
me
not
write
be
down.
relevant to some of you.
Let me write it down. Say
Yeah,
again.
I'll send to you the poster and
Okay.
everything. Right?
Okay. Okay.
And recently, I joined an organization called the Society of Gerontologists and Geriatrics. So many of you are very young. So you think, so these are people who are above 55 and 60. All right. This is the people of the third age. I'm trying to advocate for people of the third age who have retired, have nothing really, they don't have to go to work, all right? But they can still share, they can still contribute. So I want to encourage the people of the third age to because they have experience and knowledge and they can share. That's what. So I'm organizing a conference called Active Aging. Active aging means as you get old, you are old, all right? But it doesn't mean you're going to sit there and die and wait for death, you know. It means you can still be active within the parameter of your age, right? So the conference is called Active Aging, Mind, Body, and Spirit. Active Aging, Mind, Body. I will send to Ban Peng the poster and the details and also the website. And it's in a few months' time, all right? And hopefully you can join. And the
Where's
most
the
important,
location?
yeah, it's in Kuching.
Okay, good.
It's a
It's really
2%
good.
English. Yeah.
It's really good because we have a lot of tourists from Singapore who will
Yes, I
attend
would love
such
to.
conferences.
Yes. And I'm making it too cheap for Singaporean. Unfortunately, I should have made it much higher because to you it's only about 100 something ringgit, 100 something Singapore dollars to attend a 2-day conference with dinner, lunch, and tea and everything, plus lectures for everything, right? So it's too cheap. So I'm combining it with Visit Sarawak. There's a lot of places. I'll let you know, guys. I
Yeah.
mean, those of you, yeah.
That's
Okay.
it. I'll give you the good news. I've organized before. We got funding by the Sarawak Tourist Promotion Board for Singaporeans of the third age to explore Sarawak. We have done it. Then we are going to do it again. I'll try to time it together with your
You can help
conference.
me with that.
Yeah.
And because there is an organization we set up in Singapore called Stratos.
Okay. Stratos.
Yeah. The GM is a Toastmaster, was a Toastmasters before.
Okay. You
It's
can link me up.
marketing.
We'll try to work on this. I think I'll
Sorry,
be
guys,
happy.
I kind of sidetracked on that, you know. But remember
is
the
leadership.
topic actually is quite important.
Yeah.
It's not just question of for the older people. Mind, body, spirits are the three elements which help to drive us in our life, right? And in this case, I'm just focusing it from the seniors, but there are a lot of things you can learn, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
See you at the next meeting.
Can we close
Bye-bye.
the meeting now?
Yeah, we are ending the meeting. Hendra, next time you must drive faster, reach home faster.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll invite you again, Hendra.
Thank you so much.
One of the speakers at the conference is Ibu Maimuna. Right?
You must know Maimuna.
Yeah.
He's a great leader from Jakarta. He was from
going to talk
Medan.
about-
Maimuna
you're from
was from
Medan.
Medan. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hendra, what is your phone number, Hendra?
My phone number is +62
+62
812
812
601
601
6755.
6755. That will be Hendra Lolita. Is it Lohita? Is
Hendra
that
Suchitra.
Suchitra, sorry. Yeah. I've got it. I got you in my database.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have my WhatsApp number.
Yes. I will invite you again next month. Always remember it's the first Wednesday of the month. I'll see all of you next 1 month from now. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.